Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this thrilling Thursday here in Connecticut. What a beautiful day. Just got in from a 30-mile bike ride. Just got out of the shower, and we're ready to go. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Soft playing. A little bit different than lyrical playing. Caressing the baby. All right, let's see what we got. Anyway, hellacious double C's, and right down to the softest, me and a harp pizzicato, doom, 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 in a whisper. Now, a little bit of an explanation. For those of you that are kind of new to this YouTube is done on a laptop. Top grade Apple, no question, but the microphone is such that it is self-regulating. Okay? I have no control over dynamics in the laptop. I do it my own. So many times, guys, the dynamics are completely lost. Okay? I will have no idea the difference in the dynamics until I go back and watch this video. Okay? Now, the double C, big as a house. And believe it or not, as big as it was, the laptop, self-regulating, will actually subdue the volume to a certain degree. Now, when I go in and play in a whisper, it brings the level up to many times when I'm caressing the baby, it comes off like I'm playing like a double C. Okay? Now, I'm pretty sure you could have heard some difference in that dynamics. But I'm telling you, that double C could have brought down the walls of Jericho, and that Haydn was so soft. Now, what came out? Probably something in the middle. Okay? Anyway, not making excuses, just saying, as the kids say. Now, let's have a little talk about soft playing before we even start. How to go about getting it. Okay, this came from a viewer asked a question. I'm not sure if it was down below or if it was via email. I said I would do a video on it, and here it is. Now, for the most part, you jazzers, you big band guys, you lead players, quite frankly, you don't need it. You don't need it. At the most, a mezzo forte will do you just fine. At the least, the most, whatever. Okay? It becomes in quintet playing. I find that a lot of time quintets get very soft. Very soft. It is such that you do, 2-hour concert without taking the mouthpiece off your lips. They have to make it soft. Rolf Smedvig of Empire Brass, he was at Manus when I was there. This big. Mel Broyles wouldn't let him near the section. I mean, there was no tone. It was just soft. I'm not knocking him. I'm saying that is the nature of the beast. Okay? Now, I was brought up in an orchestral genre, and I'll talk about that. With that said, I sat next to for years and listened to umpteen times of three of the greatest soft lyrical players of all time. I sat right next to Vacchiano and listened this far from him and listened to the most gorgeous rendition of the offstage solo to the Pines of Rome. I almost cried. It was absolutely stunningly beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. Okay? I sat right next to in a lesson, and I sat out in the house of the Metropolitan Opera dozens of times, and I heard the master play Parsifal. Mel Broyles play Parsifal. Never cracked a note. Just gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I sat right next to John Ware and asked him to do a rendition of his Mahler third post-horn solo. Again, without making a fool of myself, I didn't want to cry, but it was absolutely sublime. Okay? So much better than the guys today. Okay, I won't get into it. Different video, but that's how I feel. Now, those three guys. Now, those three solos, first of all, when you're talking about an iconic solo, a lyrical solo, Caress the Baby, it is not necessarily so soft that nobody's going to hear it. Does it have to be lyrical? Does it have to be with a pretty tone? Absolutely. But guys, they were not playing 3Ps. They weren't. Most of these solos, guys, are about a mezzo piano at the softest. Okay? Now, the post-horn solo from Mahler and the Pines of Rome are off stage. And Vacchiano and John Ware both told me, just play into a towel if you want off stage. Nobody cares. By the time it gets out into the audience, it's going to be soft, so you can blast your brains out if you want. But again, you have to keep it lyrical, so there's a middle ground there. Parsifal, once again, many times it's performed on stage. Mel played it in the pit. And again, there's some buffer there that, you know. Now, it needs control, and that's all, and I will get to that in a second. But it is very, very rare, in the orchestra at least, that you are playing so soft that basically nobody wants to hear it. Okay? Now, I'm going to leave a link below that I'm not going to get into it because Mel Broyles can explain it better than anybody. All these different tricks that you can have, different mouthpieces, okay? Different horns, mutes, and he talks about using different mouthpieces, flugelhorn mouthpieces with a tape on. And I'm not going to get into it, okay? We'll get into that later. But I will say this. A pal of mine, who's one of the best trumpet players in New York City, chop-wise. I mean, just tremendous. I could use his name. Ray Rosario. He has a 1SB that he uses 98% of the time, a 1SC and a 1SS that he keeps in his case 100% of the time. Now, he is primarily club dates, shows, lead, stuff like that. So if he's out to 2 o'clock in the morning, whacking his brains out, and much of his work is at church on a Saturday night till 2 in the morning, gets home at 6 for a couple hours sleep, and then has to go to a 9 o'clock service at church. He's got the 1SS in there all the time. Give him a little extra room. Okay? Now, for the longest time, that soft playing was what kept me from really, I'm not going to say kept me, but kept me from the ultimate chops. Okay? Every single time I had a lyrical piece in the orchestra, I was immediately trying to, wah, which you can't do on a Calla mouthpiece. It just cuts off and it gets strained and everything. Now, what the Bach mouthpiece does, and these guys, the three that I talk about, did brilliantly, is you can play soft, but you can still get a richness in the tone. Okay? And that was absent in the stock Jerry mouthpieces for a long time. Every single one that I used, Jerry mouthpieces now. If it was the DT10, if it was the 6, if it was the S3 or something, I would have the rim and the basic cup for 99% of my playing, but I would always have, right in the middle of a video, I'll call you right back. Bye. My daughter. Okay? I would always have the DT10 with a bigger cup, just like I told you about the 1SS, until the 1SB came along. And you can get that richness, okay, on all volume levels. Okay? Now, to answer your question, how do you do it? Guys, it's the same thing. You don't alter a bit. The secret is, and what Phil Smith has, and Herseth has, and the 3 guys I talked about, they were so relaxed. Guys, there was no strain in the tone. No strain in the tone at all. They could get it up to mezzo forte, okay? And there was no strain, so it was just glorious, okay? That's what I finally got with the 1SB, okay? Now, once again, relax, relax, relax. And when I have something that's very, very soft, I concentrate even more on the relaxation and the thick tongue. No air just sort of takes care of itself when you're playing soft. You don't even think about, okay? But that's it. And I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but it is just great, relaxed, compressed trumpet playing that gives you the pianissimo and the caress the baby type stuff. Speaking of baby, I got to call my baby. She's calling from college. Anyway, guys, eat and drink fruits and vegetables. If you have questions about that, let me know. And live your life with true power, not the fake stuff, true power.